going on, everyone? It looks like I am alive. Sharing my screen, everything. So here we go. Bunch of questions about what's going on here. This is tradingview.com. It's free. You can pay for a subscription, and I'm not sure. I think you'll get better price feeds. You can have more than one screen open. Stuff like that. I haven't paid for a subscription. I just use these for videos, and it works very well. I think they're very nice charts, and you can go in and find specialty indicators. I am using the T3s, which Tim Tilson, that created the T3s, is not a trader. He is a mathematician. And I'm just using I just go in here and I choose the one that has the most likes. I think down here you're asking for some subscription fees to use these T3s, and you can, a lot of people, they specialize in programming, and they can do that kind of stuff. All that a T3 is an exponential moving average. I'm using the 8 and the 13 on the T3s. Now, here we go. So yeah, I'm just using the 8. That's the red one. All these are EMAs, exponential moving averages. So if you can't find the T3s, just use the EMAs. It'll work just fine. All that the T3 is an exponential moving average smoothed over like 6 times, creating a better signal. That's all it is. You can use a regular EMA, that's fine. You can see the difference when you put the regular 8 over the regular T3, 8. And there's your style. And there's your source code that someone has figured out and published. Now, the only difference between my trading, actual trading, is this variable. I use 618, which is the golden ratio, but 7 is jam clear, close enough. So the rest of this stuff is just gobbledygook. I have no idea, but you don't need to know all that. Anywho's, the next one I'm using is the closest I can find on here at TradingView is the simple moving average. But this is actually the smooth simple moving average. I don't know the big difference. I can't find just a regular old simple moving average. So I have the 13, I have the 8, and I have the 34. 34 is my main trend. The 8 and the 13 are my support and resistance. Actually, all 3 of them are my support and resistance lines, and I'm just using those for visual aid. I want to know on a long-term chart where I am. I want to make sure that in a long-term chart, I'm above the 34. So if I'm going long, I want to make sure I'm above the 34. If I'm going short, then I want to be below. Other than that, I'm just using candles. Candles, candles, candles. Learn your candles. There's about 11 formations that you need to learn. They're called reversal bars. And if you learn those reversal bars, you'll know what's going on. I can take all these visual aids off and just use candles. Indicators are just an indication of price. Price makes these. And why don't I have volume on here? Oh, it's because it's not recording on a dollar. The only other indicator that I'm using for the videos is, let's see if I can find one with volume. Sometimes the volume is not published. I guess you have to pay a pretty penny to get those figures. But the only thing else I'm using is volume. And my moving average in here is 13, which is just an exponential moving average of about 2 weeks worth. So what I'm looking for is price volume breakouts. And I just use the 13. I use the 8, 13, and 34, and the golden average, or the golden ratio for my variable. Other than that, that's it. 3 lines on a chart, candlesticks. Watch for the volume. That's it. That's my trading style. I've been using this for a very long time. Once I found the T3s, I was amazed. You can use the T3s to find tops and bottoms. What I'm using my trading system for is support and resistance lines. So when I get a crossover on the 34, I'm using that 8 as resistance. See that 8 as resistance? Pop into, see, I'm following that 8 as resistance on the way down. It's support on the way up. So I'm looking for that 8 resistance support levels. I'm using the 13 as a safety net. Sometimes price gets pulled back under. And you'll, after using them for a while, you'll get comfortable whether or not price is just above or below support. That's where all I care about. I sell into resistance, I buy into support. So what's going on today? Start off with $1. Another question came through. If you had $1,000, what would you buy with it? I don't want to get in the habit of making professional recommendations. These are only in my opinions. I want to make sure that everyone knows that. I'm not here to tell you what to buy and sell. Most certainly, I don't want to get sued by someone that gets freaked out because they bought at the wrong time, sold at the wrong time, whatever. This is a highly risky. Trading is very risky. It's very speculative. If you don't have the balls for it, I don't know what to tell you, but this is how much fun it is. So basically, if you have to make a living and you're just starting out, learn how to paper trade, learn the rules, learn the ins and outs before you put in your money. Unless you want to pay tuition, because we all pay tuition. Now, that being said, I do offer a personal service consulting fee if you want to have me hold your hand. If you want to do that, just look in the description for my email address. I have one client right now, and things are going well. Took his trading from massive losses to under control and back into the green. So nothing's guaranteed either in these markets. Just have to throw it out there. So that's what I'm doing. 3 lines on a chart, and these are only my opinions. So that being said, let's get on. Later on, I'm going to offer a service. I haven't got around to it. $10 a month where we can all join in and trade ideas, trade opinions. But see, I can't do those trade opinions and suggest things on a public forum. You end up getting in trouble. I'm not a professional, but I like to think I know technical analysis, candles, and price momentum, price patterns. One thing that I do fail at is psychology. I tell you that for a fact. I'm not afraid to admit it. When I got my money on the line, I may know technical analysis, but that money on the line is highly emotional for me. And I usually fail. So I'm a better coach and a teacher than I am a trader. So there you go. But I have to say that the altcoin market is a free market. It's like a whole different world where technical analysis really just is on the mark. It really works. Where this is like, well, maybe it's probable. But the altcoins, I don't know what to tell you, but it's totally different. It is it's pretty badass, actually. Maybe I'll show a chart later on. All right, so let's get on with it. The dollar is rejected right now. This is a weekly chart. Monday is over. Came over the 13 or over the 8 into support. I'm wondering if that's support or a rejection. We'll find out in the rest of the week. So let's start. Let's go with the daily. So we popped above the 34, back into support. I got 3 tri-tips candlestick pattern. See the wicks, the wicks pointing up. That means it's coming down. Now I have support. That's a bullish retracement back into support. Let's see if support will hold. You come from a bottom, come through, consolidated here, busted through the 34. Now it's coming back into the 34. Previous breaks. It's coming back into support. Let's watch the price come back into the 34 as the 8 is crossing up. Let's make a nice little splash down here at the daily chart. Now, the longer term pattern, price pattern, is a head and shoulders top. So I'm looking for some kind of a rejection. The only thing bullish that's counteracting my head and shoulders top is a whipsaw past support and then busting through resistance back on the upside. So I got a head and shoulders top, but I also have a whipsaw over support through resistance back into the price pattern. So who's going to win? Is the head and shoulders top going to win, or is the whipsaw just going to negate everything? I got resistance coming in. If it wants to come up, there and there. So right now it's coming back into support. So that'll give us a chance for gold and silver, I think, to come back through. If we can get silver and gold up above a nice, see, gold needs to get above 1260. Silver needs to get above 1850. So let's do that when this is retracing. Let's get a little push out of this. All right, so S&P still in the pattern. Those are price patterns. Trade outside the pattern. Don't trade inside unless you're buying at support and selling at resistance inside the pattern. But it gets really hard when you're going inside the pattern and getting closer and closer to resistance support. The price range isn't a lot. So you want to keep that in mind. You can buy into support, sell into resistance when the price range is big. But when it gets down in here, you better get really smart about what you're doing. But that being said, once it comes out of the range where support's coming up, resistance coming down, this looks bearish to me. It's a descending top there, lower highs, lower highs. We can get down to the nitty gritty. Looks like it's consolidating here over the 8, so be careful on that. We do have resistance on the way up. This looks like a reverse head and shoulders top. And that's the thing about these things. Is that a reverse head and shoulders consolidation? Or now reverse head and shoulders is supposed to come at the bottom. Reverse head and shoulders are at the bottom. Here's a nice reverse head and shoulders. This is at a top. So is the pattern going to fail, or is it going to take another lunge, measured move up, another leg, as they say? Is it going to take another leg up? We'll have to figure this one out. Boop, boop, boop. So it's always a battle between bulls and bears. Bulls and bears. That's a reverse head and shoulders. Nice consolidated U over the 8 coming across. Let's see how this works out. Could get rejected at any moment. Trade that neckline. Actually, the shoulder line. I don't know. Is that neckline or shoulder line? That's a shoulder line. That's a neckline. Trade the neckline. This bottom support is that gap. Most likely, that's a better line of support here. Let's use that line right there. So it's a nice little tight pattern. Watch as the price comes in here as a little corkscrew and has to decide. Price will have to decide up or down when it gets into this tight spot. And you'll see the volatility come outside of those patterns with volume included. But beware, that is a reverse head and shoulders. Is it ever going to stop? Oh my God. So I got a nice line of support here. I got a previous low here. I got a pattern. Here's the Dow. Looks like the Dow is up too. I got rejected at resistance. Now I have the opposing point. Now I have a trend line coming down. I wait for that first line of resistance. There's an opposing point there, but then we have a higher opposing point. So I'm going to change it up. First it was over here. And then it's now here. I should keep it there, just so we know where the original line of resistance is. And keep this as a whipsaw, actually. But I want to keep it open, just for my preference. I got resistance there, previous lows. So let's see what happens. Is it going to go through, or is it going to get rejected? I got a thin line of support here. These higher lows. And see how steep it is? It's likely to come down and make another opposing point into support to gather its legs. Now, when it comes down into support, it makes that line. I'm not sure where it's going to come down to, but watch volume on the downside, because it just could fall over all of the sudden. And it's likely to gap in the morning, where you won't be able to get on that train until it's too late. And that's the thing with futures markets right there. Where's my NASDAQ? There she is. NASDAQ. It's another reverse head and shoulders, if you can see it. Another thing is we have a double bottom, a double bottom here, a W, and I got resistance. So who's going to win? Right now it's below the 8 for support. Got rejected, 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 rejected. Now it's below the 8, closing below the 8. Slow breaks, looks top heavy. But that's a very nice W pattern, so don't negate the fact that that is a bullish pattern. But see, the W, the double bottom, is supposed to be happening at the bottom of the charts. That's the thing about bottom charts. Look how steep that line is. The steeper the line, the less support. Prices can just slide right through, easy. You need some kind of a, it's just way, it's, how can you say that's not overextended? Parabolic, no less. Look at that. Anywho's, I'm still bearish on all these, but make sure you trade the charts, not my opinion. That's a W. Look for previous high breaks in around 54.50. Look for previous lows to break into the previous highs. You can see that balance point now. Previous highs, previous lows. If it breaks down below that, it's liable to ride the next range through to the next previous lows or previous highs. Use previous highs as support on your way down. Use previous lows as your resistance on the way up. Easy. That's the simplest way I can explain it. There's other ways to do it, but you keep to those simple terms, you'll do fine. Then you can learn. There we go, some volatility coming out of the VIX. Right out of the gates. That looks good. Let's see how high we can get this to rise. Volatility's coming in. Nice. 10%? What? This thing getting volatile. That's the S&P. When the VIX is up, usually S&P is down. Let's see what happens. Watch that balance point on the way down. This is the top wave, and then it's liable to come through that line and come down through this wave. So what's that mean? All the way down. Potential to 22. What do you think about that? That's a pretty steep drop if it happens. All right, let's move on to crude. Damn, come on, crude. Closing on its highs. Watch for a retracement back into support as 8 is crossing over. Maybe a real tight, sweet, just a the quicker the retracement and then churn, the bigger the moves. So watch this come and tap it real quick. If I was trading this, I would put an order in at support. That's just me, though. When prices get overextended from its moving averages, its natural course of return is to come back into support. It's its natural course. And I can see resistance here. I can see resistance there, previous lows. I got a double top working, closing on its highs. Remember, when something closing on its highs, watch for the open as it might make a double top. And this right now might make a triple top. It's got to get over resistance into support. Sell into resistance, back into support. Buy the dips. Crude is looking good. Where were we at, crude? 55. We still need to get to 60. We've been talking about 60 for a long time. That could be just a huge bearish retracement too. You just never know. There's a nice support line. Back into the 34. These lines aren't perfect, so just use them as visual aids, but they're pretty on target through every time frame. It's crude. Left shoulder, nice U. We're still waiting for that right shoulder to complete. Watch that flat top break at 43, busting into previous lows, into the next previous lows, into, looks like a break there would bring us into about 44 to 46. Just using the previous lows. It's trying to break into these previous lows. Once it breaks in, see how it Busted over the 34, back into support. That's the best buy. Support is holding. This might need to gather its legs a little bit more. You never know. Breaking into previous lows, into the next range of previous lows. So the first stop is 44. Into 44 and a half, all the way up to 46. Those are the lines of resistance. Keeping it simple. Left shoulder, right shoulder, completing, flat top break, flat top, into resistance. Boom, I call that the launching pad. Over the 34, into support, watch that flat top break. Boom. Call it the launching pad. Still not in the measured move yet. It looks like I got my line ready. Looks like it's not ready. It's coming back into support. We need to get above previous highs. And then we might get a move out of this. Got a double bottom here. Bottom, bottom. Watch the flat top break. Might need to come back into support. It looks like I got a 2-bar pattern, but I'm above the 8 and 13, so watch it come into support and double back. I think we established to be bullish on this because of the reversal bar here. The long-term upward trend line waiting for a previous high break. And then once you have that previous high break, you can see cup and handle. Pop. So I'm looking for a break on this. It's got to happen. It's got to break above previous highs and then watch the pullback, the bullish retracement back into support. Let's take care of all this crap. So nice, all of this is coming off of this reversal bar here. This doji, long-legged, long-wicked doji, where the price opens and closes at the same spot. Long-legged doji, very bullish candle right there, reversal bar. Remember that reversal bar. It's a hammer on steroids. That's what I would say. So watch the cup and handle breakout, flat top, boom. See what happens. TNX. That's a bearish retracement back into resistance. Watch for this to come on down. But I do have a whipsaw first to deal with. So I popped into resistance, got rejected. It's still above support. Support has to break before we make a decision on this. It already broke once. I'm thinking that that was the bearish retracement to end all retracements as it allows it to come back down. Still waiting. I think the Nikkei broke down for us though. There she is. Broke that line of support. You can see the bearish retracement very clearly. Boom, into resistance. Boom, into resistance. Boom, into resistance there. Boom, 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 boom. Where's the leg going to stop? I got support here on previous highs, previous lows, another gap here. Lots of gaps on the way down. Who knows where it's going to stop? Definitely pattern break on the top. So what I want to do is take a measured move. Let's call it, let's make sure this is in the right spot. So let's take a measured move. Right where support is. Imagine that. It's like clockwork. Think of these technician analysis deals as some kind of a clockwork where prices are going in between support and resistance all day long, all week long, all month long, all year long, on every time frame. So measured move, it doesn't always have to come through the whole measured move. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is set in stone. I got support now. Let it come through the range. Looks like 18.2 is the mark. See if we can make it. It's likely to come down to 18, actually. An emotional spot. We'll see where it stops. Bearish retracement on steel. I do have a higher low. I do have an A, not an AB bottom, but a higher low. I forget what you call it. There's the AB bottoms and then the higher low bottoms. Maybe it'll come to me. Higher low. I got resistance. Look at the previous lows, right where the 34 is. It came down through the 34, back into resistance, back into support, higher low. And make certain that's not a reversal bar. So I had the breakdown, bearish retrace, broke into resistance, back into support. Watch the previous high breaks. Right over the 34, come back into support, let her climb. Looks like steel is turning a corner. Watch for previous low breaks. This whole thing could fail. But nice flat top break. Always want to have the flat top breaks. If you have flat bottoms, those are flat bottom breaks. Those are bearish. I want a flat top break. Resistance coming in, breaking, come back, breaking, coming back into support, allowing it to climb on up. It looks pretty powerful on that bending of the steel chart. We got higher lows coming in. Just be aware that they can fail. It's coming into resistance now. It could get rejected. But higher low, let's make a higher high. Get out of that bottom. Gold. Gold has an inverted hammer on the daily. We've been talking about this. It broke out, inverted hammer. Right? First of all, we have a flat top break. Right? The first high, the whipsaw, double, boom. That inverted hammer is the start. If that inverted hammer is taken out on the downside, then all bets are off. So pay attention to that. Otherwise, let this thing build, build, build. Take the higher highs or the previous highs. Take the previous highs as support all on the way up. Take all these previous highs. We want to get above this original previous high over here, because that's where it's all started. Plus it's touching 3 times. That's a clue. Previous high breaks 1260. 1261 and 15 cents. No, wait. 1261 and 41 cents. Let's get above 1260 and call it a day. Let's make sure we ride up each high. Let's take out this double top. Let's take out this inverted hammer. Take it out on the upside. Once we get above previous highs, I believe that price will ride up that wick, no problem. Remember, inverted hammer, okay? It busted out, and then some fat boy is sitting on the bid, bringing it down, buying up all and shaking you guys out. And then he says, okay, I've had enough. Jumps on the ask, and then that's the end of the day. These things always happen in the middle of the night, so I understand 3 o'clock in the morning if you want to really get technical. 3 o'clock in the morning is when they like to move this thing. Silver. I got a lower high. Okay, right off the bat. Came to a peak. 1850 is the break. We want to get over 1850 on silver. So here we are, gathering our legs back into support. Here's a reverse head and shoulders. It came all the way back into that pattern. So made a high, crossed the 34, came into support. Came across, boom, 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 boom. Whipsawed into support. What we have now is the right shoulder completing. And let's see here, a cup and handle. Let's get a break. We got to do this. Price patterns galore. Bullish, bullish. That's the handle. Plus the whipsaw. You can see the head fake came back into support, which quite literally is these lows over here. So let's do it. We've got a lot of resistance on the way up. Make sure that we get above the 8 for a weekly close. Otherwise, let's just take out the top at 1850. Let's take a measured move. And this one little first measured move on a daily chart. We can do measured moves on a weekly chart if you want, but let's just take this. 20 is the mark. Now let's see where resistance is on the long-term chart. I bet you we got some previous lows. Previous lows. Watch those previous lows for your measured move. You got to get into these lows. So 1850 into previous lows, 1870 into 1920, on the ways up to 20. 20 would be a huge emotional spot on the chart. Those even numbers. So it looks good. I think we might be coming out of that handle. We had a spike low over the 13. Now it looks like it wants to move higher. Watch the previous highs, watch the previous lows. Let's ride it on up. Copper, how are we doing in copper? Got a line of support. Looks like it's coming through. It's testing support lines. Watch for previous low breaks on the downside. It looks like it's having some trouble. Needs to gather its legs and try again. So now we have a pattern. Resistance, resistance, support, support, resistance can tightly get wound up in here and pop. It looks bearish. I have a descending triangle. Anything can happen. Buy the break if it wants to come out of here, but then it can still come down into support one more time. Let's take previous high breaks and get into the next resistance line up there. Real quick, GDX. Nice. These are beautiful little cup and handles. Beautiful. Aside from my paint. Looks bullish. We had a head fake here, came in as support. Now it's going to do the 1-2 punch. See the 1-2 punch? There's resistance right there. Came through resistance, came into support. Now we got the punch. Bam. 1-2, bam. 1-2 punch. I got an inverted hammer over here. Let's take that out on the upside. Let's follow that wick all the way up. I got resistance at previous lows. Let's call it 24.50. Sell into resistance. Sell into resistance. Previous lows. Put your orders in before before it gets there. Don't decide that it's at previous lows and say, oh, well, Rusty might be wrong. Just get in the habit of selling at resistance. There's no being wrong if you took a profit. But if you hold too long and it get whipsaws your ass back into support, you're gonna kick yourself. Here's another reverse or another cup and handle. I got some resistance lines right there. Take it out. Take it out. I got resistance in 40 range. Still got to get above the long-term pattern. Nice cup and handle, reverse head and shoulders. We've been through all this day after day after day. It is building. It's still bullish. Nothing is certain, so watch for previous low breaks. It might need to gather its legs again. And handles have been known to do some crazy-ass stuff, so watch for handles just to break down and then whipsaw your ass right out of the trade as it whips down and then blows right past resistance on the next trade. Could happen. Nugget. That's what I'm saying. You got to trade at your own risks, especially these mining stocks. I mean, this shit's going to get volatile. I can't wait. Resistance at 11. I got reverse head and shoulders, cup and handle, same dealio. Let's get into the previous lows at 11. So the goal on this is 11. Let's build at 11 and crack the whip and giddy up. JNUG. JNUG is pissing me off so bad. This is 3 times the gold. Gold is at resistance. This is still riding support. It's pissing me off. I got resistance. I got resistance. Previous lows, previous lows, previous lows, resistance. I got support. Previous lows. It's riding support. Boom, boom. That is a beautiful chart. It already tried to break out once, came back into support. Now it's going to do that 1-2 punch over. I got major support at 8. So let's get to 8 and talk. Bitcoin. I got support at 1160. Previous high breaks at 1160. It came through 12, came into support already. It already broke previous highs. Let's get above the previous highs over here. Let's get above 1220. Once we get above 1220, take out that last half of the pattern. And let's look at this on a long-term chart and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's still bullish. It's above support lines. Use the previous high break as support. That's 1160. I got a previous high over here somewhere. What we have is a huge cup and just a little dip on the hammer or the handle. It looks like a 1-2 punch. The cup came all the way back in for that very nice short and sweet hammer, or not hammer, a pullback, bullish retracement, head fake, throwback, whatever you want to call it. I call it the bullish retracement. It broke, came into support. Now it's breaking previous highs. Boom. What do we got going on? We got a measured move. Let's take 1160 down to the bottom of the chart here. Doesn't have to be exact, but quite literally, it's like clockwork. Let's take a measured move. 2200? Are you freaking kidding me? I want to see this thing. This is what silver's going to do when it breaks 50. You all know that, right? Let's go back to silver. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right. Well, it's not going to let me see the 1979.80 high, but it's at 50, right? So we got this big O top over here. We did this big O U, came back into it at 2011. This is the handle. This is what we've been waiting for. The handle is completing. People say, oh, it's not bullish. This is the cupping handle. This is the handle. And we're coming into resistance. Let's get above resistance, come back into support, and let's show them what this thing's made of. Silver's going to fly. So there's your answer. If anyone's really catching on, what would I put my money on if I had $1,000 bucks? Let's get above resistance. Overs. Over the 34, back into support. It's riding support right now. It's a little peakish. I have a triple top here. I need to break into resistance. 1850 is a mark. Into resistance. Into previous lows, ride that range up. Let's get up to 26. 21st, then 26. 1850 is a mark. Anywho's, Bitcoin is doing what silver should be doing. Got the 1-2 punch. 1, 2, boom. Let's watch this thing fly. It's above 1200 for 2 days now. I just don't know. I do not know. Let's look at Cliff. Let's make sure we got a bottom on Cliff. Cliff was my nice trading stock for a while. It's coming down into support again. Looks like it might take another leg into support. Looks like it might come into support again. Yeah, it doesn't look good. It's got a higher low right now. Barely. Looks like it got rejected. It's holding support. If support does not hold at 772, it's likely to come back into the 7 mark. So watch that. So far we got rejected. Well, we did close a higher low. So we got that going for us. Resistance at 860. 8 and above into 860. Let's get into 860 and start talking again. AG. This was the best runner last time around, so let's keep a watch on this. And someone reiterated my analysis. As this ran so much, came down into support. Well, once it broke down, it went sideways along the support line, my trend. So it's been going sideways forever. Right now I got higher low. And a flat top break. It's inside the range. Had a nice burst of energy into the next line of resistance. Let's get above that. I got support line here at, let's just call it 775, just below 8. So I got tight support, lots of resistance. But the thing is, this went sideways. Everything else went 1, 2, 3 legs down. This went sideways. And to boot, it made a reverse head and shoulders. That wasn't good. You can see the left, the head, and the right shoulder. The right shoulder got rejected. It came into support one more time. So anything can happen. Maybe this needs to come down because it hasn't yet. That could be possible. Anything's possible. I got support. Let's just call it 7. Let's just call it 750 just to keep it fair. And I got resistance. And just below 10. If it climbs above 10, we have 11, 12, 14. Looks good. We just need to get above certain lines of resistance. Let's get above previous highs. Let's run it. Might not be ready yet. Here we have a nicer chart. Came through the 34 back into support. Watch for previous high breaks. Need a flat top break. Looks like 9's the mark on the way up. 10 is always a huge emotional spot. So there you go, daily chart. Came through resistance, came back into support. Watch the previous high breaks of this candle that came down into support. Watch that previous high break at 870. Take a ride. There you go. Looks like uranium picked up today. War is on the horizon. Look at that. Uranium and war all at once. Stay above 2 for support. Watch the previous lows. Break into previous lows. Ride the range up. Looks like it's at resistance. Got rejected somewhat. Maybe it'll do a pullback, sharp pullback. Buy those pullbacks. Or if it breaks support, you know you made a mistake and it will fall over on its own. But if it doesn't hold support, let's look at these other ones. Ivanhoe still lingering. Watch a previous high break at Ivanhoe. UEC was a good trading. It's supposed to break out here, and I think I got caught in a trap. Look for previous high breaks at 157, onwards up to 170. So you can get a nice flat top break into the next previous lows. Let it come back into support. That's not as bullish as the URRE, but there you go. This nice little snap. Look at the resistance coming down. The 8 came into resistance, rejected. They got the A, B bottom, A, and then they pull it back. Bam! Previous high breaks at 16. Into resistance at 16. Might have some trouble getting through 16. I think that's it. Appreciate you guys. I don't even know how long this has been. Building. Let's do it. Where do we close? Let's see. Looks like gold's up. Silver's up. Lots of resistance on the way up since it's sharp pullback. So it might need to build. Let's look at a 60-minute chart for silver. Hey, look at that. Reverse head and shoulders on yeah. Look at the flat top break coming in. Flat top break. Boom. Into resistance, come back into support. Buy this on the break, sell it at resistance, buy it back at the support line. Let it build. Coming through. I got resistance lines all the way up in here. Let's get into that 1850 range. Let's do it. We can do it. It's an hourly chart. It's going to break out right now. Let's see what we can do tonight. Where's gold at on the 60-minute? Same thing. Can't scream loud enough. Reverse hand shoulders are very common. Very common there. Watch the previous high breaks. That balance point there. 1260 is the mark on gold. All right. I'll see you guys. Pleasure. Thank you. And I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you.